I have two beautiful, wonderful kids. It's moments like these that make it easy to forget all the times when they're super annoying and hard to imagine my life without them. So you can imagine the predicament that I and millions of other families face every day. How can I find someone that I can trust to take care of my kids? The internet has made it really easy to find everything online, from directions to a restaurant to even finding a babysitter on the internet. But the only problem is, how do I know that who I'm talking to is really who I think it is? If the fake news scandal of this past year has taught us anything, it's that on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog, or a Russian operative for that matter. I'm here today to tell you that trust is the critical ingredient. If I can't build trust with my babysitter, I'm not going to leave my kids with them. Trust is what's going to get your users comfortable with buying your product. Trust is what's going to get them to convert faster. And trust is what's going to get them to stay your customer longer. So today, I'm going to walk you through my framework on how I think about building trust. This is not an exhaustive list. There's definitely more ways that you can build trust than what I've listed here. And it's also not meant to be prescriptive, because some of these will work better in some cases than others. So think of this as, how can I think strategically about how to build trust into my products? Let's start with one of the most common ways, looking at the power of your user base itself through things like ratings and review systems. Recently, I was thinking about buying a new patch for my backpack, and I found this really, really cute pink geometric fox on Etsy. It's $5, super cute, and best of all, when I scrolled down the page, I could see that this item had been favorited by over 200 people and had over 2,000 positive reviews for this seller. With such strong social proof, it made my decision really easy: add to cart. Now, I'm not going to beat a dead horse when it comes to rating and reviews because, face it, we have all experienced it before. If you've ever bought anything on Amazon or eBay, if you've ever ridden an Uber or a Lyft, you've probably read reviews as well as even left some. Ratings and review systems are great because they tap into the wisdom of your user base, they scale really well, and they also build stickiness with your supply. Because if I have over 2,000 positive reviews on this marketplace, it's going to make it really hard for me to leave that reputation behind. Another common way that marketplaces build trust is through guarantees. A few years ago, I went to Coachella with a group of my friends, and a few of them decided to go at the last minute. So they had to buy their tickets from somebody that they met on Craigslist. I think you know how this story is going to end. We were having a great time that weekend. We had an awesome house booked. We donned our festival best, and we rolled up to the gates. And then what happened? That's right, they found out their tickets were fake. So imagine their disappointment, how devastating that feeling is when you've traveled in to go to this event and you can't get in. This is exactly why StubHub has a Fan Protect guarantee. They know that when you are in the process of buying expensive tickets, you don't want to be worried about whether those tickets are going to work or not. So the Fan Protect guarantee takes trust and transfers it so that you don't have to trust the seller on the other side, you can trust the platform instead. Another marketplace that does this is Shift, a marketplace where you can buy and sell cars. Buying a car is really hard to do, and buying a car online, forget about it. Shift knows that this is a huge barrier, and so that's why they have a 150-point inspection process, a no questions asked guarantee, and a 1-month warranty for certified cars. Shift has taken all of these hurdles that they know are part of the online car buying process and tried to assuage it with this guarantee so that you never have to talk to a used car salesman again. Guarantees work really great when you have an intermediated marketplace, when you are selling a very high-priced item, or when it's a very rare item. But what happens if what you're selling is not a thing? What happens if what you're selling is actually a service that's provided by a person? That's where identity verification comes into play. If you've ever answered a question like, which of these addresses have you lived at in the last 7 years? Well, then you have had your identity verified. This is an area of technology where there's a lot changing every day, and the cutting edge relies on AI and facial recognition. So here's how it works. Let's say that I own this fabulous house in Napa. I don't actually, but I wish I did. Now, if I were to put myself in the shoes of this host, I know that I wouldn't want to rent it out to just anybody. I would want to be sure that this person is not going to trash my place. As a host on Airbnb, I can actually specify that I only want to rent to people who have provided identification. As a guest, I would be asked to take a picture of the front and back of my ID, and then a selfie. Cheese! And voila, the magical machine learning algorithms will determine whether my ID is real or fake, if it's been doctored in any way. It'll also compare my face from the selfie to the face that's on the ID and give Airbnb a probability that I am who I say I am. So as a host, I can feel really confident knowing that the platform has done the verification for me, and I can trust that the system has done its work. Finally, last but not least, certifications. I can still vividly remember the summer before my junior year of high school, or the summer of SAT, as I like to call it. Every day after summer school, I would ride the Muni to go to my summer job, and along the way, I would flip open my SAT prep book. I would also flip through my vocabulary flashcards, and all of that was done in the hopes that I would score really, really high and get into the college of my choice. The SATs are a way for colleges to be able to compare students apples to apples across the country, regardless of what high school they went to or what classes they took. It's an external standard that everybody uses. Another marketplace that uses a similar method is Upwork, a marketplace for freelancers. So now that I've been giving all of these talks, I think it's time for me to get my own website. And I decide to check out Upwork to see if I can find a graphic designer to help me out with that. I've come across Rose R's profile, and luckily Upwork has created these tests and certifications so that it's really easy for me to see if these freelancers have the skills that I need. In Rose R's case, unfortunately, it looks like she scored below average on principles of graphic design, so she's not going to be the one that fits my needs, but I can quickly know that and move on to find the right candidate. Certifications and standards are a great way to look outside of your marketplace to bring in consistency and trust. So today we talked about my framework for building trust, starting by looking from within and tapping into the wisdom of your user base with things like ratings and reviews, then harnessing the platform itself with guarantees and verifications, and finally looking outside of your marketplace to things like certifications. As you go back to your day job tomorrow, I encourage you to think about how you can strategically include trust in your products and think from internal to external. If I haven't convinced you yet, I have one last example, and that's Zappos. Zappos launched in 1999 with almost no revenue in a very crowded space. Think of all the places that you can buy shoes online and offline. Over the next 10 years, they built up hockey stick growth to over $1 billion in revenue. And then they sold to Amazon. What was the secret to their success? Trust. Customers knew that they could trust Amazon with anything, practically their life. Zappos never had any hidden fees. Zappos would take back a pair of shoes even up to a year after purchase. And they were famous because they even took a customer service call that lasted for 10 hours. Customers trusted Zappos. So if you're a fan of hockey stick growth and you want to position your company or your product to be able to experience that, then you need to ask yourself, how can I build trust? Thank you.